Radio Raheem here with Kathy Duva. Just 2.5 weeks, as you say, from the fight. Obviously, Ward Kovalev too. A lot of anticipation. But you personally, are you feeling more excitement or just relief?
Yeah, relief. That's better. Yeah, I just want to get the fight on. Let's do it.
Well, as big events approach, sometimes big stories come out, and here we're chasing today, gotten comments on this strange story that's cropping up about John David Jackson and the Ward camp going back and forth about who called who and did John offer his services to Ward. What's your level of information on that and your feeling on it?
I wouldn't call it a big story so much as a made-up story.
But what's made up about the story?
What's made up is who approached whom. And what happened is, for some reason, Ward's camp decided that they were going to try to approach John to try to get him to leave Sergey and induce him to walk away. Which I got to tell you, I've been doing this for 39 years this month. I have never seen that happen before. That's something. And John said no, and so they decided to come up with this story, and I don't know why. But I guess they're trying to create controversy, but we've all known about this for months. I knew about it back when we were at the press conference in Oakland, when I think Virgil kept demanding that, claiming that, don't be so sure you're going to see John in June. And I was saying, Virgil, your plan didn't work. And I don't think people picked up on what we were talking about, but it didn't work. Your plan didn't work.
Even since the first fight, they've had a lot to say about your contract and your relationships in the camp. Do you feel like this is all just mind games, or is there something to discuss here?
I think the games are being played in their own minds, and this is wishful thinking. Look, you saw them work out together today. That's very functional from what I can see. Sergey was exhausted last time. He overtrained. It's the truth. When we were here last time on this day, 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks before the fight, it was like a different person. He was tired and listless. Today, he is like the crusher's back. So he got a new personal training coach who took over who stops him from training too much. That's basically been the guy's job. And he's doing a very good job of it. And Sergey's listening to him, and which is, one of the things about Sergey, part of what makes him great, is that he doesn't listen to anyone. Every great fighter I've ever known doesn't listen to anyone. Actually, I've been fortunate enough to work with a lot of people like Evander Holyfield and Ray Leonard, and they all had coaches, but they did their own thing. And Sergey's one of those guys. But he found someone who is very, very experienced and very good at what he does, and the difference you saw today.
He may not listen to anyone, but you guys clearly do have a close relationship. You seem to have, communication. You're here for all of his events. So leading into the first fight, he seemed more relaxed, even though he was a little irritated by Ward. I think he was more respectful. He seemed to say that he respected the guy. It's polar opposite this time. When it comes to your fighter's mentality and approach going in the ring, is he angry this time, or do you feel like that helps him, or is that something that you guys need to get under control?
No, Sergey does his best work when he doesn't like his opponent. We've seen that over and over again, so that makes me happy. I think they had way too much respect for each other last time. This time, Sergey's not happy about the fact that, we had a very controversial ending. Most of the people that interviewed me today volunteered that they thought Sergey won. Something like 75% of the people who were surveyed came to that conclusion. Sergey was upset that Ward didn't just man up and say, hey, you know what? I want to do this again so I can prove that, that I can do it. It didn't really come out that way. It was, we're going to make you wait for 3 months. We're not going to talk to you about the fight. We're going to play all these games. That's great. You see what he looks like now. He's like night and day from last time. And I think he, and it's funny you said like he doesn't listen to anybody. My kids don't listen to me either. I still love them, and they still love me. There's nothing wrong with that. That is what a close relationship is like. And he said to me, get the fight done. I got the fight done. He's going to do what he has to do.
Well, you say he's better when he doesn't like his opponent, but promoters, they often don't like each other, but sometimes even when they don't like each other, can work well together. The first time out, obviously you guys had your disagreements, and it was a tough start to the press events and whatnot. Now that we're just a couple of weeks and a half away from this one, has this build-up been better or worse? Are you guys getting along better, working better together this time, or even not as good as the first?
No, it's different. Last time, I think I've said this before, I was carrying the ball. and they were trying to tackle me everywhere I went. I'm trying to go downfield, and I got my own team trying to knock me down. This time they're carrying the ball, so I'm not trying to tackle anybody. I'm not blocking either. Just let them carry the ball. And so it's different. It's frustrating sometimes. I don't agree with the messaging. I don't agree with a lot of the decisions they made, but I also recognize that I bargained that away in order to get this fight done. So I'm not going to. I've said what I thought, and if they don't accept it, I move on.
And lastly, I mean, I have to talk to you from a promoter's perspective, since that's what you are. When we were done with the first fight, you were like, "Oh, rematch, we've already got the deal done, rematch clause, everything's fine, should happen in a few months, no problem." Obviously, that was not the case. And we still got a back, he said, she said, like, what did it take to renegotiate, or did you have to renegotiate to get this second fight going? Did you feel that they honored the deal? Like, what did it take to make this happen?
Well, what it took was to give them creative control of the event. They didn't change the money. We didn't change, we didn't change the things that were, fundamentally important in the deal. What they wanted was the decision-making authority on everything. And again, we're dealing with people who don't have a lot of experience, and I had a lot of trepidation about that, but Sergey, the message I got from Sergey and Agus was he wants his belts back, do whatever you have to do. So I did it, and again, their approach is different than ours. I think at one point I saw an interview where Michael said, well, we do things the Rock way. So this is the Rock way. So I guess we'll see how that works out.
Well, I don't have to ask you who you think is going to win this fight. You could give me a prediction, though. But with that said, if your fighter does win, as I'm sure you expect, then we'll be looking at an even 1-for-1.
Yes, we will.
Are we going into a rubber match? Is there any deal or conversation in place if Sergey wins that we will see a rubber match?
There is no deal in place at all, I'm happy to say. So we'll see.
But is that something, I mean, it would seem like that would be something that the fighter and you would want, because the score won't really be settled. It'll just be evened.
Well, yeah, that depends on how you look at it. As you pointed out, 75% of the people would say Sergey won twice at that point. So we'll see. It depends on what's marketable and what's not, and that will guide our decisions. And really, it would, I keep telling people this is like, I've had 3 kids. This is like asking somebody in the delivery room if they're going to have another baby. You don't ask right now.
Give me a prediction, Kathy. What do you see happening June 17th in Las Vegas?
Sergey's going to get his belts back.
Radio Raheem with Kathy Duva. Relieved and happy to have this fight so close. We'll see you on Fight Night, June 17th in Las Vegas.